Hi, I'm Michael O'Hare, ex-CEO, philanthropist, all-round life coach, and the author and founder of the worldwide acclaimed Best in Business seminar series. Welcome to Enter the Dojo of Business. Hiya! Join us live here every week where career progressions do come true. Do you believe in a world where every human being is entitled to a successful career? Even dead people? Subscribe to my channel, follow the Facebook group, and if you want to start a watch party on Facebook now, feel free to and get many other people to have a successful career just like you and I. And if you think others could benefit from my Best in Business boot camp, get them to come and join us every Sunday. We're live, as I said, on Facebook, Periscope, and YouTube. On Facebook, you can submit a question in the box below, and on YouTube, you need to be actually watching this in YouTube to see and add questions, and hopefully I'll get through to those shortly. This week, I've mixed it up. Again, I'm a bit of a trickster. I'm relaxing in my antechamber room. This is a sofa that was given to me by the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia on completion of a business deal involving the financing of his 50,000 copies of the British 80s sitcom Hello Hello, all into Arabic. This sofa was made entirely by local Saudi children. And before you say anything, if you're concerned about child labor, don't be. I had the quality independently verified by a professional upholsterer, and I can safely say it meets my Best in Business standards. Anyway, our first question this evening is a Facebook message from Derek Baton in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And he says, "Dear Michael, how do I resolve a conflict with a vegan work colleague?" This is a very, very important question and has come up regularly. Thankfully, though, Derek, I have recently been on a 4-week intensive course on exactly this topic. I'm an expert now. Firstly, you have to approach them with care. Veganism is a mental illness. It's no longer acceptable to come in and dump 5 pounds of raw mincemeat on a vegan's desk. More's the pity. No, now, to have engaged with them correctly, you have to understand the vegan. And for someone to have turned full super vegan, let me be clear, they have been through an awful lot in their life. Now, I would suggest offering raw vegetables as a peace offering. Maybe play some Cat Stevens and hold their hand, but obviously not in a sexual way, and wearing gloves. Remember, they will be obstinate and self-righteous, no matter the situation, when you have done absolutely nothing wrong. These are the classic signs of aggressive and malignant veganism. So take them, once you've done that, take them to a small dark room, preferably one that's ventilated, although not essential. Lie them down and put a cold, damp cloth on their head and get them to rest up there for as long as they need to. And then, of course, afterwards, make sure they make up the lost work time they've had. So hopefully, Derek, that answers your question for this week. Good to see everybody here again. My next question comes from an email in from Dr. Howard Hawkins from Bend in Oregon. I've actually been there. Not one bend in the road. All roads are straight. Which, by the way, isn't a homophobic remark. It is a factual statement. He says, "I have a colleague I need to fire. What is a very quick way of getting rid of them?" Well, in answer to your question, very simply, say they touched your front bottom. Since 1999, that practice is no longer acceptable in the professional workplace. So hopefully that helps. Who are they going to believe? A junior member of staff or a manager like you? So hope that helps, Dr. Howard Hawkins. My next message is an Instagram message from Dirty Bean Flicker. I presume, she says, anyway, you can't make assumptions nowadays. I'm a single mum with 4 kids, working from home. Any advice on how I can improve my effectiveness with respect to working? Wow, 4 kids. That has got to be one of the biggest mistakes of your life. Repeat it 3 times. Oh, that's like setting up an orphanage at home, with your own kids. Um, I suggest, first, just as an aside, you find some other extracurricular hobbies to do. Maybe buy a TV, or get YouTube. Well, the first bit of advice would be to get rid of the kids, put them in a cupboard. Um, the other thing I would say is you've sent a picture in. I mean, look, make an effort. This is kind of what your colleagues and clients see. Nobody is going to want to do business with you while you're looking dowdy, wearing that shabby and slightly stained old kimono. Video conferencing cannot be a pleasant experience for others. So put some lippy on, for God's sake. So that is it, really. In summary, be more effective working from home, send the kids back to their dads, and invest in Botox. So hope that helps. Bean Flicker. I'm just checking the live messages. Unfortunately, I cannot see what's happening on the Facebook this evening. Although I will try and see now. No, I cannot see what is happening on the Facebook at the moment. So let's carry on, and I'll see if I can log in as we're doing this. My next message is a tweet from at Breast in Business. Oh, I do love a good pun. This is from Mark Z in Pacific Palisades, California, and he says he has just started expanding on his social media business. What is the correct term for a personnel department? Well, that is a great question mark. And you really kind of have to go with your own instinct here. You've kind of got your classic phrases for a personnel department, human resources, human capital, talent management, those sort of things. But then you could expand it a bit more. I mean, cherry pickers, gossip mongers, knitting club, work shirkers, Mary Poppins Breakfast Club, Camp David's, Tupac's gang, human traffickers, loose women, confectionery corner, middle-aged munters, 10 to 4s, driftwood, muffin tops, process monkeys, Mills and Boone enthusiasts, drooper troopers, bitch mob, and Hogwarts School of Wizardry and Witchcraft. You have to choose what is best for your firm, but I'm sure you've got some there actually happening, and so good luck with that, Mark. Our next message is a Facebook message from Marianne Harper in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And she says, are there any benefits I can give my staff other than actually paying them? Well, that is a great question, and it really does depend upon the type of workers you have, Marianne. White-collar professionals or blue-collar grunts. If you've got the former, the white-collar workers, they tend to be very highly motivated by God's green dollar bill, but they will accept other perks such as comprehensive private medical insurance, their own office, private jet travel, attractive secretaries, generous pension, mahogany desk, and a partner hat stand. Very standard offerings. But if you are sat listening to this thinking, I work in an office, I don't have these, then you go and you demand it immediately and threaten resignation if you don't get it by 9 a.m. the next morning. But blue-collar workers are very different. They tend to have the mind of a child, but the body of a beast, not unlike a troll. Additional perks that they are interested can range from sort of saying things like, well done, thank you, gold star, you get an extra 5 minutes break time. Right through to, just any household object, really, fruit, livestock, hunks of cooked meat, musical boxes, trinkets, shiny objects, sticks, small pebbles, fire, 100% proof alcohol, a whistle, and chicken bones. So most of these things can be sourced right outside your house on the sidewalk. So let me just say good luck with that, Marianne, but it does depend on your worker. Last week, we had a YouTube message from our resident Best in Business rapper, NM. I don't know whether actually that's a new age name, but possibly it is, and maybe you changed your name, but if not, it's probably just standard initials. And NM says, have you ever done a TED Talk? Well, let me just say, a TED Talk, I've done a Fred Talk. Yeah? It's bigger, it's badder, it's better. The audience and the speakers are more refined, it's better paid, and quite simply, they're more pleasing on the eye. And let me just say, you at the Fred Talks, you get an all-you-can-eat corporate buffet with free alcohol. It's not quite a Viognier wine, but nevertheless, it is good enough. TED Talks are so 2007. Nobody watches them anymore, less so wants to actually do them. So, yes, I have done a TED Talk before, back in 2010. I presented, get this, Gaddafi and Saddam, a secret yet loving business relationship. It was a complete knockout. Um, but not everybody was so impressed with it. In fact, it did lead to a complaint from the administrators at TED, who said, let me just check now, yeah, your views are antiquated, lack moral compass, and should have died way back in the 70s, along with your cheap three-piece suit. Well, I have to say, I responded to the administrators, and I sent them a website link to UK outfitters Moss Bros, saying, joke's on you, not cheap. I would say now all the TED Talks nowadays are about how you can love your staff, understand your clients actually better. A simple thank you will go a long way with clients. How to be your best at work. I mean, nothing like what we talk about here. Okay, it got completely out of hand now. So my final thought is, who is Ted? Anyway, I put that to you. Nobody has ever seen Ted. Okay, he's never present, but his name's all over it, which, to be a certain degree, is quite admirable. That. So, thanks for that question. I have a question in from an Andrew. Hi, Mr. O'Hare. My local bank is introducing a cash machine. Ooh, welcome to the 19th century. Built into a tree next to me. They say if it's successful, they might think about expanding it to other branches. Oh, we got some real jokers here. Oh, oh, oh. Well, that was great. Okay, bring those in. Bring those in. My next question is from a Facebook message from Hanging Puppet, who says, "Please, can Michael show us the best way to clap for the NHS? I don't feel like I'm taking advantage of the captive local audience on a Thursday night." So let's be very clear exactly what we're referring to here. The NHS is not the renowned mega death band necrophiliac hunters of Sudan. No, the NHS is the UK's National Health Service. It is a great free medical thing that I probably wouldn't have voted for if it had been introduced in the US. But nevertheless, a lot of people are benefiting from it. Now, what I would say to answer your question, do I have a best way to clap? Yes. A useful clapping technique was one that I learned back during a business deal with Pope John Paul II in the Vatican City back in '89. We sat for 5 hours straight in wooden church pews with no cushions. I had developed a sweat rash in my upper butt crack, which I had been desperate to scratch like a rabid dog for about 4 hours. And then, just as we were losing the will to live, the Pontiac stood up and said, raising his arms, "Amen to this business deal." It was wonderful. And at that point, a small choir of middle-aged men, presumably the castrati, entered, clapping like so. Uh, and then the Pope spoke with a very deep Latin voice. "This transaction will be successful. The power of Christ compels it. 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 The power of Christ compels it." It was very moving. We all knelt down and kissed his ring as a sign that we all completed on the deal. So maybe hanging puppet, that maybe that's one effort you could use, perhaps when you applaud your NHS on your Thursday nights. And finally, I have one final message in from a Ben M from St Andrews in Scotland. And he says, Dear Michael, I have furloughed a member of my domestic staff. She now refuses to do anything around the house. Unfortunately, she is my wife. What should I do? Oh, Ben, you would have been a lot of fun in the office in the 70s, but sadly, you can't make jokes like that now anymore. Anyway, that brings us to the end of our session this evening. Thank you very much for joining us on our weekly live Q&A session. I have a couple more questions that have come through that I will address next week. But safe to say, thanks very much for joining us. Join us here, as I said, every week. Subscribe to the YouTube channel or follow the Facebook group. Click the bell icon if you need to, and keep sending your questions in. I believe we can get every human being to have a successful career. And the 2 ways or 3 ways we can do this: share my best in business videos, social media, WhatsApp, have a watch party. That's pretty trendy. And get others to come and join us. But safe to say, have a great week. Look forward to seeing you same time, same place, next week here with me, Michael O'Hare. Enter the Dojo of Business. Hiya.